This is pretty much the solution to every problem you have in your life. And this is not something that you need to believe into. You can immediately apply it and make it a practical thing in your life. Every single time you're confronted with something conflicting in your life, whether it's in your relationships, in your day to day life, in your work, whatever it is. And it is really no secret. It is something you've been knowing intuitively, something you can tune into whenever you have those moments of stillness and just allowing yourself to settle into your being. You already know that whatever problem you have in your life, there's a solution to it, and that it is very much not complicated, or it is most of the time not even a thought process that you can solve it with. And so, in this video, I want to present you with the most simple and most powerful solution for any of your problems. And so, what is, first of all, a problem? A problem is something like a question, right? We have something that we want an answer to, something that we're confused about or have no clarity on. Because if it would be clear, there would be no question, right? And so, if we allow ourselves to tap into a deeper dimension of intelligence within us, which is beyond our intellect, beyond our simple thought process, and we tap into an intelligence that goes beyond that. Well, that's a state or a state of being that we mostly not tap into because we're constantly in a compulsive state of consciousness. Once we tap into that, every problem is pretty much instantaneously solved because the problem is most of the time the solution. Let me explain that. You see, when you're facing something that is problematic to you, it is because your perception of it doesn't allow you to see it in a way that is helping you see it differently. So you're resisting this perspective or this perception of the way you see something. And that is what is creating the problem. The problem itself is not the problem. The problem is the perception that you have over the problem. And thereby you're creating resistance in your body, in your mind. And because you don't see it, because right now the perception you have doesn't allow you to see the solution, you're experiencing a certain amount of suffering and a certain friction. And so, if you desire to solve it, simply allow yourself to be present. That is the first step to solve your problem. Be with it and pay attention to it. Instead of going into more thoughts, instead of trying to solve it with more and more thoughts, allow yourself to observe the pattern, the problem that you're right now facing in your life. Whatever problem it is, it really applies to any problem in your life. And simply be present with it. Observe it without generating thoughts. So, what I mean by that, usually you would generate thoughts, you would go into thinking, you would try to find creative solutions. But this is your intellect. This is your creativity and your intellect that is trying to solve it. That's what you usually would do. I want you to tap a bit deeper into the part of your intelligence that goes beyond the regular thought process. Because what you can come up with in the first few moments of thinking about the problem is very likely going to be on the surface and very likely a reactive answer to your problem. So if you want something sustaining and something really that brings clarity to your problem, the only way to do so is by being present and observant instead of reactive. That means to keep quiet, That is the first thing we need to learn, to be able to see the thing, the problem, as it is, without emotionally reacting to it. Because even if you try to think about it, to analyze it, to solve it, likely it is caused by an emotional reaction. And that reaction is usually programmed and conditioned. You have a preconditioned program in your mind that you're activating when a certain pattern arrives. That is because you're trying to defend something or protect something. It's just a natural mechanism we have in our physiology. And so, if you want to overcome that psychological process and that brain process and that physiological process, we need to learn how to pay attention to the problem without reacting to it, and being present with it. Be present with the problem. Don't like it, don't dislike it, don't push it away, don't judge it for something good or bad. That's the first thing, to be able to look at something without judgment. That is such a powerful way to tap into the deeper parts of your intelligence. If you're able to look at something simply with awareness as it is, without a filter of this is good or bad, without a filter of your memory of the past and impressions and reactions, you'll see that all of a sudden the thing you thought was a problem suddenly doesn't seem to be a problem anymore. I'm not talking it has dissolved yet, but it doesn't look like a problem anymore because you're now not even labeling it as a problem, right? Your perception shift, and that's what I talked about earlier. Your perception was the problem. And now in that moment when you just were aware of your problem, your perception shifted. And thereby, whatever you experience right now shifted too. You see, because your life is perception, it's a perspective. And it shifts the moment you shift it. The things that change everything in life is your perception. So when you're expecting change in your life, problems to dissolve, it's not because they dissolved by themselves. They don't dissolve by themselves. It's because you are shifting your perception over the same things. You probably noticed that in the past you've been having same and similar situations in your life, and suddenly one thing that was once a fearful situation is now a pleasant situation. Whether you had a phobia or you feared something in the past, maybe you're feared to speak in front of people or connect with people. And now it's just so easy to connect with others. That's because your perception changed. That's not because all of a sudden the circumstances or the people changed. Maybe that too. But it's really not about the people or the circumstances. It's about your perception over how you were talking to people and how you were approaching people and how you were perceiving people. And so that is the first step. That is the first step to solve every of your problem. To simply be present as it is. Not judging it, not labeling it, not trying to change it. Because the moment you try to change the problem, you're focusing on the problem and now it's separate from you. Now you're creating more conflict. You're creating more friction. And by trying to think about it and trying to analyze it and trying to find solutions, again, I'm saying trying in whatever that's called again in English. um, I'm saying trying because you're literally just trying. And sometimes you will come up with a solution with your intellect, but you'll take so much time usually to come up with a solution. And sometimes it comes also easily to you. But if you want to access a different dimension, a different part of your intelligence within you, the first thing is to just observe the problem, to just be with the problem. See the problem as it is, not labeling it, not reacting towards it. And hold it. Are you able to hold the problem without judging it? That's ultimately the question. Are you able to hold the problem without changing it or trying to fix it? So that's what's happening most of the time. If you have observed yourself carefully enough, you'll see that most of the time when there's a problem, you try to fix it. That's our first response. Well, we want everything to be in harmony, right? So we want to fix it. We want to make sure everything is in order. And so naturally, we program ourselves to always trying to fix when problems arise. But can you be just simply present? Present with the problem without trying to fix it? And that is the first step. The first step to just simply being present. And this is pretty much the entire story. This one step can already dissolve your problems. If you're truly present, this can dissolve your problem completely. You'll see all of a sudden a deeper part within you awakens and you'll find the solution in no time because obviously there's no more problem because you shifted your perspective, you shifted your perception. So I invite you today to just simply practice it, to practice being present with whatever comes into your life. No matter what it is, like no matter how familiar the same situation is, no matter how often you encounter the same problem, whether it's a conflict or a conversation with a loved one or a friend or at work or whoever it is you're talking with or whatever situation you're actually encountering in life, whatever life throws at you. If you allow yourself to just simply be present with it, you will have the freedom to choose how you want to respond. And that will change your trajectory of life. You will learn how to respond consciously because now you have the freedom to choose. And it's really within your hand. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.